So here we are at the University of Washington today. I'm going to take you a little behind the scenes on their pro day. I've got my Blackmagic 6K Pro. It's really the first job that I've done with it out in the field, so I'm excited to put it to use. And best of luck to all the guys, really going for their NFL dream today. So here we are in the indoor stadium. I'm going to be running through the drills, and then we're going to be doing a little green screen activation at the end, and I'll do my best to show you behind the scenes. Quick just rundown of the gear that I have today is I've got, like I said, the Blackmagic 6K Pro. I've got an 18 to 35 Sigma. That's for the vertical jump. I need it a little bit wider. And then this 24 to 70 is for my green screen activation. They asked for 28 millimeter on the green screen. The 70 to 200 is in the bag here. And then I've got a couple of lights. I've got a light panel along with just a little newer fill light for the green screen. I basically would just do a little 2-point light setup on the green screen, which you'll see me put together here. So I say tip number one is arrive early, maybe even a little bit above the call time. Things generally take longer, things like parking, different things like that, checking in. So always leave a little bit of buffer if you're going to be doing that. And then the other big thing which I did yesterday was fax my gear, or just check my gear, make sure everything worked, make sure the microphones work, all the lenses were working, cameras working. And with this being a new camera, I had to really kind of familiarize myself with it. So just running through the different menus, I had to shoot in a couple frame rates. One called for 60, one called for 30. So really, just like in sports, the work you put in before makes it that much easier. As in the interviews and whatnot, things are quick. You don't want to be going through your menu and leaving the player hanging. You want to be just as quick and efficient as possible. So all that prep work before just will really make it really simple for you when the time comes to shoot. The famous 40-yard dash. And I've got my lens shifter on here for a nice little tracking shot, which should be interesting on manual focus. I've got my f-stop up super high. I'm actually at a f10, so we can track them all the way down. But I wanted to just briefly wrap up some of the tips that I came up with, as well as my final one of how to work with different types of athletes. So the first tip is fax your gear, prep your gear. I did it the night before, and actually was super helpful because the microphone the rental company lent me was faulty, and had I not known that until the day of, I would have been without a microphone. I was able to find one the night before and use that for my green screen activation. So really make sure you prep all your gear. I was shooting on the new camera, the Blackmagic 6K Pro, and I just wanted to know the ins and outs of the menu. So prep your gear, tip number one. Tip number two, arrive early. So even though the call time was 9 a.m., I like to get there just a little bit early, as things like parking, I had to park farther away, load in all my gear. So just different things like that. And the third is really prepare almost like you're playing a sport, right? So I played baseball, and I really enjoy the preparation that goes into sports, and that really shows when you're shooting. And so for this instance, I didn't really know the team that well. I haven't really covered University of Washington football, so I had to actually make a shot sheet with the 4 faces that I was focused on for the day, just to make sure that I knew exactly who everyone was, what position they played. And so having a little printout of people that you don't normally know or familiar with really helps and goes a long way. And also, congratulations to those 4 guys, because they all were drafted in this past weekend's NFL draft, including the first round Joe Tyron to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So congratulations. Just a quick little background my history of working with athletes. It started with Sunday Night Football, doing the headshots that you see when the players introduce the lineups each and every week. And my very first 2 were Sam Bradford and Tim Tebow. And so I was really fresh out of college. I was super nervous, but I've come a long way, and I want to share with you just a couple tips on working with athletes. All right, so the first part is just really being prepared and knowledgeable about what the client, in this case the NFL, was asking for. They sent over a ton of information, which I was able to go through, and then I put all that information into one document. I had it handy on my iPad, and then I like to do my best to try and memorize everything that's on the sheet. And so there was a bunch of different activations that they wanted, from Giphies to TikToks to questions for Instagram and Twitter. So just different things to kind of get them loose and ready. Didn't go right into hard questions right away. And then from there, we would have different fun questions that they would go into, and then really get home with the hard-hitting draft questions on where they thought they would be drafted, their Madden rating, different things like that. And so really having just a plan of attack for your shoot will make it go that much better when time with athletes, generally in my experience, is always pretty limited. So like I said, all the way back at tip number 1, be prepared with your gear. The last thing you want when you're dealing with an athlete is to be fumbling through different things with your focus or your audio, anything like that. Make sure your gear is ready to go. And then the second thing is just be personal with them. Take that extra 15, 30 seconds, introduce yourself to the athlete, what company or media affiliate you're with, and then just give them a little rundown of what they're going to be doing for the day. Just paint a picture. That way, like I said, I had my flow. You want to be quick and efficient, but also get what you need. Thankfully, athletes have come a long way since when I first started doing this type of content. You kind of had those old salty veterans that didn't want to do different things, but now these guys come out of college, young rookies, they have a general idea of what social media is, how it works, and they're a little more apt to being on camera and having some fun with different responses. So I would say if you have someone that's like that or has a strong following, really lean into it, and it's going to make for better overall content. So that's in short just a quick breakdown of how I shot University of Washington's Pro Day. As I mentioned, congrats to all the guys that got drafted. If you like this video, please make sure you smash that like button below for me and hit subscribe. Would love to send out more content your way. And I think I'll have to think about just more tips of working with athletes. It's definitely something that is complicated to get started, but there is a general flow to it. So I'll think about that, and maybe that'll be my next video.